one of the things I really try to convey is just how interested I am in this particular field and how much I enjoy it. And I would say particularly the possibilities for students who are coming out who are going to work in this area. There's so much happening with strategic communication, and it's so central to so many different fields. In fact, that's one of the things our students, I think, both celebrate but also struggle with is they've got so many options. And I see it as part of my job to help them understand what those options are and help them start to think about where they might best fit in. I love being the first person to talk to them about things that they've grown up with, certainly especially advertising that they're used to, but now they're coming at from the perspective of a professional who really needs to understand the nuances and how it works. And I love getting to have that chance and seeing them start to make some of those connections. So the creative strategy then is the blueprint that will lay out what those ideas are. I have loved the students here at Kentucky. Here, we get such a great mix of students. The university as a whole, the first-gen students, I've had some great first-gen students. The kids who are coming both from rural Kentucky, but then also from the more urban areas in Kentucky. It's just such a great mix of kids, and they love the university so much, which to me, again, I feel that more strongly here than any of the other places that I have had the opportunity to teach. And then the other thing is I've gotten to teach study abroad. And that's just such a different relationship that you can then build with the students. And so to be recognized with this award that started with a student's nomination, but at a place where I've had so many fantastic students and I have so many just really nice memories both in the classrooms here on campus, but particularly with study abroad, it means the world to me. It really does.
For me, the College of Law, like this school, UK in particular, has meant so much to my family. To be a lawyer in Kentucky it can be such a special thing for the state. But, even beyond that, I think we have that ability, like the ability to work on so many different things that are important to Kentucky because so many of Kentucky's lawyers and judges and legislators and governors are coming through the school. I mean, we get that because of what we're doing in the classroom and what people who were at the College of Law before I was born have been doing in the classroom. I think I'm probably the luckiest academic in the country. I really do. I mean, there aren't that many people who have my job who get to come home, and still less to do it at a law school, at a place like this, at a place that is as good as this, as good in every way as this.
That's forfeiture. It contemplates that the restraint might be broken. It's not just this immovable wall, right?
For our students who want to come to law school, the way they talk about law school and what a life as a lawyer could mean and what they have been through and thought about, that is sort of always inspiring. The best days teaching, that is the most fun professionally that I've ever had. And that part of it hasn't gotten old. It is the greatest gift that you can get as a teacher, to know that you have students who feel that way about your teaching. The way the job works, you don't really know for sure what they think of you. But this sort of thing, I mean, it's great. I don't know that the job gets better than that.
One of the things that I like to try and share with students is the whole me, not just me that is teaching them, or not just me that was an auditor, was a CPA before I came, but me who is invested in this community, the service to the community that I do, and try and inspire them to do that. What I want them to understand is that they have a lot of power to change lives of not just them and their families, but of their communities by having this skill set, knowing that information and helping them see the connection to how they can impact other people, is what I hope motivates them to kind of push through the incredibly difficult or boring or whatever to kind of get to that outcome on the other side.
With our operating lease, we're going to credit lease liability for that interest amount we calculated.
I don't believe that there is any one right answer, and I believe that there isn't one right answer because everybody's different. So my teaching philosophy is to be there, where the students are, understand, get to know them so I can deliver what each of them needs. I didn't know that so many people who taught me had actually won this award. And that to me, I think says a lot about the importance of this, because I talked to those colleagues, to those people who are my colleagues now, about their teaching and their impact on me, and how much what I saw them do in the classroom really made me the teacher that I am today. I think it's really cool that I feel like this is kind of the validation of all of the work that I put in trying to learn how to do it right, to do the best by them. And it tells me that to have a great future in teaching is that I need to keep doing it.
I come from a research background. My whole career has been in research. I'm relatively new to teaching, so what I try to do is actually incorporate my research into the classroom, and I think in doing so, I think it makes it more realistic. They can see the opportunity for creativity and participate side by side with the generation of ideas to solve some of these major problems we have going forward.
Coal-based capacity in electrical generation is going to level off somewhere around a half to a third of what it used to be, and the reason is because natural gas prices are going to be low.
The mining engineering profession has an overwhelming amount of opportunity, and our students have a difficult time trying to negotiate and understand that. So working with them, getting to know them, and helping them to uncover the myriad of possibilities is actually gratifying, and I think it's a very worthwhile activity. Having an attitude of service is actually critically important to those of us that have been blessed with the opportunity to attend higher education and be involved in a discipline where we can actually make a difference in the world. So that stewardship component is something that I try and live in my life, and I would rather them catch it than have me teach it. And so by spending so much time with them out of the classroom, I like to think that that's actually something that's been effective. I'm doing what I feel like I'm called to do, and I'm doing it to the best of my ability, and that's enough. And it really is. But to have an organization or a student or whatever go to this effort to actually recognize the contribution is just really amazing. Thank you.
I had a career as a public defender, representing people who are charged with crimes and don't have money to pay for lawyers. And I care very deeply about what's going on in the criminal legal system and the issues there. And so I view this, in terms of the subject matter, as an opportunity to introduce my students to a different way of looking at the criminal legal system than they might have heard before, and to really become intimate with it, with its successes and its failures. I want my students to have a sense of how the law operates in practice, not just in theory. And so that's very important in terms of how I teach.
Yeah, I think
the Seventh Circuit has pretty appealing arguments in this case, right? But the reality is probably that the Supreme Court got this right. I love the process of helping students learn, and they help me learn. I mean, it's an ongoing conversation. They help me to think about both the law and the world in ways that I might not. And watching them develop into lawyers and develop into professionals and just develop as people, right? That we all do. Helping them, again, find their passion and find their path, to me, is incredibly rewarding. I am hopeful that many of our students are going to go out there and do amazing things that are going to change the world. And I am not only hopeful, I feel fairly confident in saying that. I hear the things my students think about and the things that they care about, and I have full expectation that many of them are going to go out and really shape the way the world is going, right, and shape the things that are going on. The reason I do what I do is because of my students, and to have a student take the time to do that, and even to feel that way, right, to consider me in that light, I'm deeply touched and deeply moved by the honor.
First and foremost is for students to understand that, especially at the level I teach, it's a give and take process, and I learn as much from them as I hope they learn from me. We are training our future colleagues. We're training people who are going to sit beside us at the table and do the kind of work that we do, and so we want to treat them like colleagues, and we want to have these open conversations. And that takes a little time for them to get out of the habit of there's an instructor who's the expert and there's the student who's learning from that. And that's not the way we want things to work.
What you're bringing and what you're learning through the presentation of this information is really going to help us.
They teach me every day to be, number one, thankful that I have the opportunity to do this job. They teach me what's happening in the real world, so that when I'm doing my own research and my own studying, I have them in my ear telling me what the real world is like out there.
But the key is it has to be contextually bound. That's what you taught me today.
The heart of an educational organization is teaching. I mean, that's our goal, right? Our goal is to prepare others. And so the fact that the Alumni Association has highlighted that critical component of what this university is about, I guess it can't be understated how important that is, and how important it is in helping us feel good about the energy and the time that we put into teaching. I have to keep teaching because I grow. Every time I teach, I learn something new.